One of the big challenges that many companies have as they become global, major challenge, is how do you manage globally and act locally? That's called think global, act local. How do you do that? In other words, who's managing here? Who makes the decision? If it's made in the center, which means globally, then the locals say, hey, this is not a Kremlin, this is not a communist system. You're running it all from the center, not paying attention to the differences of the local different markets. But if you run it local markets, you lose control from the center. Now we don't have the same product in a sense. Or there is maybe, it's dangerous because maybe you have a global client and they know what you're doing in different countries and they communicate between themselves your lack of organization and coordination from a global point of view. Especially if you have a global client, you should have a global management. What do you do? How do we do this? How do we run globally, paying attention locally? It's also called a matrix organization. You have a central function, and you have local activities that need to be coordinated from the center. What do we do now? Here is how you can handle it. And we tried it, and we worked with many companies, and it works. But you have to follow the principles religiously because each one of them is critical for success. Let's take an example of central finance. And you want to run finance centrally, guys. You don't want to have every country running its own finance or its own accounting. God forbid it doesn't come together. You would not know what's happening. You would not even know where your money is. So you want to run centrally all the financial aspects of the company, and you want to have similarity or has to be identical, the accounting systems, so that you can integrate and you can compare. Otherwise, you'll be out of information, out of control. But at the same time, down there, people say, wait a moment, if I'm running the country, how can I run the country if I don't have the finance reporting to me? They report to the center. This person is in my country, working in my country. I have my own financial problems. I have my own taxation. Well, what do I do now? And here is the rule. Here is the rule. The analogy is of a military situation. If you have, let's say, a unit called ordnance, they repair the guns and the tanks and whatever have you. And there is a central professional part of the military called ordnance. These are people that are professional. They know how to repair. They know how to maintain. But the field requires this maintenance and repair. Okay? So we put those people down there to serve them, but they belong to the center. And in the military, it's very clear. Here it says ordnance, and here it says Northern Command. What does it mean? I work for ordnance. I support Northern Command. The same thing here. I'm a financial person. I belong to the financial function. I'm serving product line A or country B. And usually that is shown here in a dotted line, here in a solid line. But now we have a matrix. Now we have a problem. Who is the boss? And the person says, my God, I have two bosses. Now what do I do? And if they clash, either I'm in trouble or I'm free because I don't listen to any one of them. Now, how does this mama-papa system work? Who really is driving the person down there who has two bosses, the center and the local? And here is the answer. The center is responsible for the quality, content of the work of the person. Thus, they're responsible for training. Thus, they're responsible for hiring. Now, what does it mean? Down there in the field, they could hire somebody because it's too far from the center to hire that individual. But the center has to approve. The center has to set up the standards. Maybe they even have to test the person because they have to live up to the standards, professional standards that the center requires so that we are the same all over the world. Or the center will hire it for. How about salary administration? Has to be determined by the center, paid by the local. Why? Because he's serving the local. How about bonuses? Has to decide by both. Why? This has to decide by the quality of the reporting he gets. This one has to decide by the responsiveness of the person to the services needed. Who manages this person day to day? The local. Now what happens if the local does not like whom the center is sending? He can refuse to take it. If the center is to recommend until the local says, yeah, I like this person. So they're responsible for hiring, for staffing, they have to approve. Next, how about firing? Let's assume that the local does not like the person, is not serving him right. For whatever reasons wants to fire him, cannot fire him. He has to return him to the pool because maybe he's not good here, but this person will fit there. How about if the center wants to fire? Yes, he can. Why? Because maybe the person is not doing a good professional job. The local cannot stop that. Can the center call periodically for meetings, for communication of information, for training? Yes, can. So you see what's happening? They're content-oriented, they're day-to-day oriented. They're both managing, everybody has its own responsibilities. It is on the budget of the local, salary determined from the center. So there is similarity of what the people are getting all over the world or all over the organization. Training certification from here. Implementation here. Firing. They can fire and send somebody new there that they have to accept. They cannot fire. They can only return to the pool. Bonus. Have to agree together. What happens if they don't agree? Then it goes up to the intersection. What happens if there is disagreement? Always go to the intersection where the two functions report, and that person who is at the intersection of these two functions has to decide what to do, because he or she is over both of them. If any problems, let me know. Thank you very much.